Today we were supposed to do the DAO authentication.
Oh, yes, sir.
So I have prepared a roadmap, and if we follow that roadmap step by step, we should be able to implement. Okay, so that is called as role-based authorization. Okay, so this is very much in need in the industry. So I had given an overhead, this is overview yesterday, right?
Yes.
So the topic is RBA. Okay, that is called as role-based authorization. So depending on the role, you will be able to hit the endpoints. So if we have two roles, okay, admin role and user role. So admin can hit which endpoints? All the endpoints. And user can hit only which endpoint? Okay, user can only create and user can only read, let's say. Apart from this, user cannot update, user cannot delete. Update and delete privilege is only with the admin.
Admin.
So this is what we have to implement today. So these are the two roles we have. Okay. So depending on the roles, we will do the authorization. This is called as role-based authorization. Okay. Authorization with a Z. So let's start. So I had given you all a demo of in-memory authorization. Okay, that we had an authentication. That was in-memory authentication, right?
Yes, sir. In-memory authentication.
Okay. So today we will do DAO authentication. What authentication will do?
DAO authentication.
So this is our first agenda today. And then after the authentication, we will also do the authorization. The authentication, and second agenda for today is role-based authorization. Is this causing any confusion in the mind? Authentication, authorization. I hope there is no ambiguity right now.
No, sir.
Yesterday's session, you'll have clarity what is authentication and what is authorization. Okay, so for your DAO authentication and authorization, I have made up. So let me share that with you all, and we will follow that. So do you all see my screen now?
Yes, sir. DAO authentication and role-based authorization. Yes, sir.
So for that, as mentioned yesterday, for the roles and the users, what is the relationship between role and users? Many to many, right?
Many to many, yes.
So we will make an entity by the name,
Users,
and you make an
roles,
entity by the name
roles,
role, and
user roles,
users
third
will
table.
have many users will have
Many roles.
Many roles.
will have a third table created. So as we had done at the rate one to many mapping,
Yeah.
similarly, which mapping will we do over here?
Many to many.
Many to many. Okay, and our owner entity. So here you have the owner entity and the reference entity, right? So our owner entity will be the user. Okay, because we are going to log in with the user. So this will be our owner entity. So in this entity, we'll do the many to many. So that code of many to many, we will write in the users class. Okay. And what attributes does the user class have? User ID, username, and
Password.
password. Okay. So now let's get going. So step one, in the model or the entity package, create two classes. Is it legible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So in the model or the entity package, make two classes by the name role and user. So first let's make the role class. Okay. So you can just copy the code from here if you want. So let's go to our application. This was what we did yesterday. And I go to which package? I go to entity package, right click, new. I make a new class. Okay. So this is the role class, ROLE. Okay. And once you have done, you just copy paste the code from here, because there's nothing to explain in this. This is self-explanatory. Okay. You have a class, Control Shift O will import all the dependencies. Take the entity from persistence, take the table from persistence.
Or we can see Microsoft Word page only, not Eclipse.
Now,
Yes, sir.
now I've just created a role class and copied the code from there. Table from persistence, ID from persistence. Okay. And data from Lombok. Data from
Lombok.
Lombok. So I have added the Lombok dependency to this, right? I gave you a demo of Lombok yesterday. Oh, Lombok, I guess we were doing on Amir's machine, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Oh,
My machine.
so have I taken the dependency of Lombok in my application? I have Lombok dependency. So I have Swagger test. Okay, I myself don't have Lombok. So I'll have to go and install Lombok. So take the Lombok dependency first. So you go to the browser and you tell Lombok dependency. See, you have to build system, Maven or Gradle. Some
Yes,
companies use
man.
Gradle, some use Maven. So we are using Maven. Okay, we're not here. We take the MVR depository, right? 1.8.3. Copy this, paste it in my dependency. I always paste at the end. Dependency, and I paste at the end. Now as I do a save, it will download the Lombok. Okay, it is downloading. The dependency should be reflecting in the Maven dependency. Dependency by Mav or Lombok. Okay, logback. What happened? Where is Maven? Lombok, okay. Right click,
Yes.
qualified name, go to terminal, open a new terminal, okay. And see, this person from whom I bought this laptop, this is a refurbished laptop. He made the same mistake, see, giving space in the user's name. Now this will, let's see now what happens. So java-jar and paste this. See, it's only going to the space. It's only going till the space. So now let's manually do. So where are we here now? CD
CD.
dot M2.
Yes.
CD dot
Repository.
Repository
ORG.
or
org. CD. If you want to go one step back, then CD dot dot. If
Yes.
from repository you want to go back to dot M2,
Yes.
then you have CD dot dot. It goes one step back. These are DOS commands. CD org. Then CD project.
Lombok.
Project Lombok. CD Lombok. Okay, I guess we've reached over there. Somebody Lombok. And now CD 1.8. One. Okay, CD 1.8.22. Oh no, we went to the wrong folder. It is 1.18.30. So go back. 1.8. What happened? CD 1.8.30. Yes. So in Lombok, we are in now Lombok, and I have told CD 1.18.30. Yeah. CD 1.18.30. This one. And now once we are in the folder Lombok -1.18.30.jar. Java-jar Lombok 1.18.30, right?
Yes.
1.130.jar. This should open up the scanning for the IDs. It need to install in Eclipse. Install, and it is successfully installed. Okay. Shows over here installed successful. You quit the installer and then do what? And what do? Next step, you restart your Eclipse. What do we do?
Restart the Eclipse here.
Yes, restart, shut down the Eclipse and restart the Eclipse. It should install Lombok. Okay, so now I have come. Let's close this terminal. So now if I go to my project and in my Java, my entity and role, and now if I do a Control Shift O, it should take data. Okay, make sense?
Yes, sir.
Simple as that. So
Important.
with the first class, then let's follow this documentation. Okay, so role class is created. Now let's go and create the users class. Okay, similarly. So whatever we know, we will just take, and what we will not know, we will write. Okay, so let me take from here. This is user class. Okay, this is my own user.
Yes,
This is not
sir.
the inbuilt user. There's one inbuilt user also in Spring Boot. So when you're doing in memory, we were using that class, the inbuilt user class.
Yes, sir.
Sure.
But in now you have to make your own user class.
Now we're making our own customized user.
Customize, sir. Customize.
This is my own user class. Control Shift O and import all of them. Entity, table, ID. Okay, see over here what I mean by. So when we were in the security package and web security, and we were using user class. You see this?
Yes, sir.
Now this user was from where? So you should always go to the import and check it has come from where. Where has it come from?
Yes, Spring Framework Security.
It was not my user class, correct?
Yes, sir.
Going forward, whenever we will use user in DAO, we will not use this class.
Yes, sir.
So when we will import it, at some other location, so be very careful which user you are importing.
Yes.
So now onward, we will import our user, which is in the package SCS.
Yes.
form.scs.college.ntt package. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now we have to make, this has user ID, username, and password, correct?
Yes.
I'm not a
Okay.
big fan of naming the variables column name as different. I don't. So if you want to give user ID, you give user ID over here only. Okay, and no need to give this column attribute. So making sense what I'm trying to say? This column is don't want. Whatever is the name of the attribute will be the name of the column. Okay. So I've named it user ID straight away over
Okay.
here.
Okay. Sir.
And no
Understood.
need to change the table name also. Just keep it simple. What is the name of the class is the name of the table. You all want to experiment with this, you all can try renaming the table. But so here also see, if the column is role ID, then better I give role ID over here only, correct?
Yes, sir.
So no need to give this extra. And name is name. Making sense?
Yes.
Role ID, and if you want, you can give this also role name. No need to give this extra.
Yes, sir.
No need to give this. Okay, so, and see, when I do a Control Shift O, it will remove all the unwanted imports. Are we using table or column over here?
No.
No.
No,
And as you do a Control Shift O, it will remove all the unwanted imports. One.
yes,
This will
sir.
make the project more cleaner. Okay, so if you are asked what measures did you take for the code to be readable, so say I arrange the code in proper folders. The configuration file went to the config folder, controller files went to the controller folder, entity file went to the entity folder, arrange them in proper hierarchy. Okay. So now we are in the user. And this is what the user has. And now we have to do many to many, right?
Yes, sir.
So user will have what? List of roles, correct?
Yes.
User will have
list of roles.
List of roles. So here, when you will see that many to many, this is the many to many code.
For that, we have to make other class.
No need. It will automatically make the third class. It will automatically make the third class, third table. See over here. So how this is done? Many to many, okay. So cascade type from persistence. List from util. Always take the list from. Don't take the list from this mapping and collections. Take the list from util.
Can you please share the Eclipse screen, sir?
Okay. So I just copy pasted that many to many code over here in my.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So one user will have what? List of
Roles.
rows. Okay. So I have given a array list over here. And now we are mapping it to many to many. I'm writing this in the owner entity. I'm writing this code where in the
Owner entity.
which is the owner entity? User.
User. Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the format for many to many. Okay.
Many to many
So
case.
when the third table will be created, what is the name of the third table?
User roles.
User underscore
Roles.
Okay,
User
from the
underscore.
owner entity, which is my foreign key,
User ID.
user ID, and from my other entity, the reference entity, which is my foreign key.
Role ID.
Role ID.
So this will map to the ID attribute of the owner entity, which is the ID attribute of the owner entity.
User underscore ID.
Yeah, so this is the primary key, this is the foreign key.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So in the third table, if you observe, in the third table, the primary key of this and the primary key of this is mapped, correct?
Yes, sir.
Correct.
User roles.
Okay.
User underscore. Yes.
This PK and this PK.
PK.
Which is the PK? PK is the column which is marked with @ID, correct?
Yes, sir.
So the @ID of this and the @ID of this will become foreign keys, right? ID with a capital I.
Become foreign.
Will become foreign keys. So what will be the name of the referenced columns?
Should be user underscore ID and
What is mentioned over here? So when
yeah.
I mention over here, so this is the name of the foreign key, okay?
Yes, sir.
Which is mapped as a foreign key of, which is referencing the ID attribute of the owner entity.
Yes.
And this is the foreign key which is referencing the
Role ID.
ID attribute of the this
Yes.
this entity, which is this
Role.
role. Okay. And one user will have list of roles. This is the syntax for many to many. So now if you just do this and run your code, you will see 3 extra tables created. Which are the 3 extra tables?
User role and user underscore roles.
Role and user. This
roles.
This is the third table name.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you can choose whatever name you want to give, but this is okay. Users underscore roles.
Roles.
Okay, so let's try to run this. Again, it's showing over here red. If I do a project clean, this should go. Because this was before the Lombok. Okay, still persisting. Okay, what is this? Red sign over here. We didn't import generation type. We have import generation type.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so when we will run the program, this will go. So this at times, no worry, not in the worry. And when you will run the code, okay, so first check now which profile we are using. Okay, now let's divert everything to local. Let's divert everything to local. Okay, so chapter of profiling. Now we will use everything in the local. So let me minimize all this and go to resources and go to my application YAML. And we are using which profile?
Local.
Local means we are using application local.yaml. We are using this. So in the SCS DB new, the 3 tables will be created. Okay.
Created. Yes, sir.
So let's run it. So this error which is showing over here, you see besides the entity, when I run, the error should vanish. Okay. Gone?
Yes, sir.
Go to console, via the terminal. No? Okay, so at 8083 test.
Yes,
and
sir.
Go and check in your database. You see my screen, right?
Yes, browser is clear.
Okay. So which was it? SCS DB new, right?
SCS DB new. Correct.
Go here. Okay, let's do a refresh. Let's go to localhost again, all over again. And now you see 6 tables.
1 second.
Yes,
SCS. Click on yes.
So what are the what else? So now we have how many tables we have?
Yes, role.
Right. So role
tables. User and user roles. Yes, sir. 3 tables are created.
Role name and user is there with user ID, password, and username, right? And third, which is the third one?
Users underscore roles.
Which is user ID and role ID.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes, sir.
Now we have to populate the values over here. Okay. So let's create the users. So you all want to use insert query or directly insert over here. I'm using directly insert from my UI. So my first user is Alice, second user is Ben. So first user is Alice and a name is Alice and my second user is Ben. Now will I give the password in plain
Not
text
yet.
here?
No, sir, not yet.
Will encrypt the password. And which was the tool utility we are going to use? Decrypt generator. Okay, so if you are the
Yes,
first
sir.
time, go to Google and type what?
Encrypt generator.
Decrypt generator. Use that. Use this first one. Now whatever password you want to give. So I want to give all small Alice with 1, 2, 3. Okay, all small. And I click on encrypt. So whatever comes after $2A, this one, copy the entire string. Okay, and copy the string properly. At time what we do is we extend the string and some extra characters get copied from the end. So
Yes,
be
sir.
careful that you copy the exact string. Okay, copy this and now paste this as your password. So this is my password for Alice. Same for Ben. I will say Ben123. Same for Ben also I will use Ben123 and I'll click on encrypt and take this and paste it over here. So now my user table is populated with data. Okay. Now let's same go for roles. So what are the roles we have? So let's insert into roles. Okay, you all can fire your insert queries. Role number 1 is admin, the capital admin, and role number 2 is user. I have 2 roles at the moment. So when you all will execute this query. So I'll give you all the query also for you guys in your MySQL workbench. This is the query you have to find. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Similarly, just change the table names and column names and insert that also. And now let's do the mapping. So Alice, I want as the admin and Ben as the user. So how will I do? Alice as the admin. So first user, first role, correct? And
Yes.
second user, second role.
Second row.
Is this making sense? So Alice will have access to all the endpoints and CRUD, and Ben will have only access to C and R. Ben cannot update, Ben cannot delete. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So far, so good. So this was your second step. So if you go to the document, go to the document. So once you have created this, then to insert the data, okay, to load the data, role ID and admin user, correct? And you go to the big, obviously I mentioned the website over here, Decrypt generator,
Yes, sir.
and use 12 rounds of encryption. Don't change that. And take the password from there and insert in your user. And now in the user roles 1122. Is this making sense?
Yes, sir.
So far, so good. Okay, now the step 3. Now we are not using in memory. So we have already made this file, right? Web security config. So in your web security config, we have to go now in that file in the security, and then whatever we were using over here, this was for in memory, correct? So I will comment out everything from here. I will comment out everything which was used over here. Okay, rather I will give this code to y'all and clean this. Okay. I will just I'm giving this code to y'all, and I will now, for your reference. Okay, too many messages it is telling me. Let me see if over WhatsApp I can send it to y'all, that y'all have a backup of your So here I'll forward this file to your. Okay. So this is your in-memory web security config. Okay, you'll have a backup of it. Yes, on WhatsApp.
Yes, sir. Got it.
Got it, right? So now I will recreate this file. Okay, so now we will not use any of our. So I've made this file blank. Okay, so what is the name of the class? What is the name of the class?
Web security config.
Web security config. Okay, so let's
Yes.
web. You can give whatever name you want. Okay, so if you want to give SCS web security config, your wish. SCS web security config, and it is extending which class? Extends web security configure adapter. Web security configurer adapter.
Adapter.
So it has now imported. Now this file has been deprecated. Okay, so this class is no more used. It is deprecated. So at the end of the session, we will see what is the alternate we have. Okay, now in this class, what you have to do, you have to do the DAO authentication. Which authentication you have to do?
DAO authentication.
Okay, so for that also, I had prepared some diagrams for your understanding. So one diagram which we made yesterday, you'll remember that now this is the programmer, right? To understand the flow of DAO authentication. This is the programmer.
Sir, we are in Eclipse screen, so can you please?
Okay.
Yes, no problem. Thanks.
Now you can see my screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the programmer, correct? So let's make it a bit smaller. So can the programmer directly interact with the authentication manager? We went to authentication, right? As of we haven't
Yes, sir.
started this, we haven't started authorization. We're still into authentication. So this is your authentication manager. So my question is, can the programmer directly interact with authentication manager? And it has a function called as
Authenticate. Yes, sir.
so we do not have access of that. So we will go at the
Configure.
so we will go via the authentication manager builder. We'll go via the
Yes, yes. Authentication manager builder. Yes, sir.
so you the programmer will go via the authentication manager builder. Okay. Now this authentication manager builder is found in which method? It is
Configure.
the configure method.
Yes, sir. Got it.
It is found in the which method? It is found as a parameter in a public void. Which method?
Configure.
Configure method. And this configure method is found in which class? Web security
configure. Yes.
configure adapter. The one we
Adapter.
extended. The one which we extended. Which was that?
Web security configure adapter.
Configurer.
Configure. Yes, sir. Okay.
Configurer adapter.
Spelling.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay, sir.
they're in the web security configure app. So as a programmer, I need to extend this class so that I
Yes,
can
sir.
get the configure method, correct?
Yes, sir.
I have to make my own class ABC security config, correct?
Yes, extend this.
And extends
This.
the security configure adapter. So
Yes,
now
sir.
this security configure adapter has two configure methods. Has how many configure methods?
To configure.
Okay. One configure it has which has parameter as
Authentication manager builder.
builder. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And one it has configure, so it is over. So what is being done over here? Configure is being has two configure method, and one with the HTTP security,
Okay.
one with
HTTP
the
security. HTTP security.
whatever object it has. Okay, it normally has
Okay.
object as HTTP, and here it has the object as auth. Object as
Auth.
AUTH.
Yes, sir.
Object.
Auth.
Auth is the object of,
Authentication manager builder.
and HTTP is the object of.
HTTP security.
So now it has two. So what is happening over here? Overloading, overriding.
Oh,
Reading, sir.
overriding. Yes, sir. Same name.
Overriding. It is overriding.
Overloading. One second.
So now this configure with the authentication manager builder is used for authentication. Simple. Okay. This, so your DAO authentication. Okay. What we are using over here. So will be taken care by which configure method? The one with the authentication manager builder.
Yes, sir.
The one with the HTTP security takes care of the authorization. As simple as that. Takes care of the. We have to do authentication and authorization both, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you want to do authentication, to go override the configure method, and if you want to do the authorization, override the configure method. Okay, so they both will be overridden. And if we have two methods with the same name and different argument in the same class, it is called as overloaded. These functions are
Overloaded.
overloaded. So now here, which type of authentication are we using, in memory or DAO?
DAO, sir.
We are using DAO
DAO.
authentication, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
we have to tell that I am using. So you have to tell the auth that I am using which authentication. Which authentication are we using?
DAO, sir.
DAO. So it has a method to which you have to inform. Okay.
Yes,
so
sir.
that method name is authentication provider. What is the method name?
Authentication provider.
So that method is of which class? Authentication provider method is of which class? You see my paint screen?
Yes, sir.
So my question is the one the one which I have highlighted. What is this highlighted?
Authentication provider.
It is a method, right? Beside that, I have given round brackets.
Yes, sir. Method.
So my question is, this method is of which class? Guys, you all should do a bit
ABC.
better than this. Amir, you should do better than this. This is not expected at this level. I am calling that method with which object?
Auth.
And
Auth, sir.
auth is object of which class?
Authentication manager builder.
So this function will be of which class?
Yes, sir. Authentication manager builder.
Why is it taking you all so much time to answer such simple questions? So now you have to tell this auth, call the authentication manager builder, call the authentication provider method, and here you have to give the method name which will manage all your authentication. Okay. So
Yes,
here
sir.
you have to give your own method. So let's say you're giving Amir and DAO manager. Okay. So that function which will do your DAO management, you have to make a function, your own user defined function. The small a with the capital D with the capital M. Okay, follow the protocol. So what is this Amir DAO manager? This is a
Function.
user defined function. What is it?
User defined function. Yes, sir.
Which will tell this auth what type of authentication I want. So I want which authentication?
Amir DAO
So
manage.
I have made a function called Amir DAO manager.
Yes, sir.
So now in this Amir DAO manager, I will do the DAO authentication.
Yes.
Is this understood what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
So first thing first, you have to extend the web security configure adapter and override two configure methods, one for authentication, one for authorization, correct?
Authorization.
The
Yeah.
one with the authentication manager builder
Builder and
is
second
used
one.
for authentication.
Yes.
In that it has the object called auth, okay,
Yes.
as a parameter. So using that object auth, you call which method?
Authentication provider.
Provider. And in that you pass an argument as a method which will do the managing of your DAO manager, okay?
DAO manager.
This is a customized method. This is my own method, right?
Yes, sir.
Is this looking like a built-in method?
No.
This is a user-defined method, right?
User defined customized. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And now you have to make this method over here in this class. Okay. So this you were overriding the configures. Now this method you have to make of your own. Okay. So now which type of authentication are you using?
DAO, sir.
Now you will make object of that authentication over here.
Okay.
Getting?
DAO
So you'll make object
authentication.
of which type?
DAO authentication.
The authentication provider. It is called as what?
DAO authentication provider.
Provider. So the object will be called as DAO authentication provider. Okay. And whatever object name you want to give, you can give. Okay. So let's say you give Amir DAO. And it will return this Amir DAO object. What will this Amir DAO manager return? Object of, it will return the Amir DAO object. It will return the
Amir DAO object.
An Amir DAO object is of which class?
DAO authentication provider. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So now if I want to return Amir DAO, what will I write over here? What will come over here? I'm going to return Amir DAO. This method will return Amir DAO.
Object, sir. It's returning object, no?
Yeah. So if I'm returning Amir DAO, this method Amir DAO manager will return Amir DAO. So what will come before the function name? Public. What will come at the question mark?
DAO authentication.
So as Amir DAO is the object of DAO authentication provider, this method will return DAO authentication provider object. And now for authentication, what do I need? I need user details and password. What do I need?
User
details and
password.
So I have to set those two things to Amir DAO. So for Amir DAO, I need two things. So first, it is a type of DAO authentication. And now it will require the user details, and it will also require the, what will it require?
User details.
And password. First, the user, about the username, okay? Some information about the username and some about information about the user
details.
Password. The user has only two attributes, no?
Yes, sir. Name.
Your user entity table over here. How many attributes is it having?
Username and password.
That is the, or ID is just as a primary key we are keeping.
Yes.
How many attributes is it having?
Two attributes.
Which are they?
Username and password. Yes, sir.
So you
Because
should have one function which will take care of the username and one function will take care of the password. Now, is your password plain text or is it encrypted? Now, your password is
It's
it
encrypted.
text or is it encrypted?
Encrypted, sir.
Encrypted, right? So you have
Yes.
to show that. Okay. So now with your Amir DAO object, you have to set two things. What are two things you have to set? It's
Name and password, yes.
okay. So for that, there's a function called as set user detail service. What is the function called as?
That uses
Set user details.
service.
Okay, and second is set password encoder. Second is set password
Encoder.
encoder. Is it making sense to you?
Yes, sir.
So I'll just do a quick recap. So you'll make a customized class which will extend the web security configure adapter, correct?
Yes, sir.
That web security configure adapter has two configure methods, one for authentication and for authorization. How do I identify which is for authentication, which is for authorization? The one with the authentication
Authentication manager builder, and second one is HTTP
the security is what?
security config.
Now we are going to first the DAO authentication, right? So let's
Yes.
park this. So you can park this aside. As of now, let's not focus on this. Okay, let's not focus on this as of now. Let's put our entire energy in only the
Authentication manager builder.
later on when I will require, I will call this. So as of now, let's only focus our energy on authentication. Now I'm going very slow and steady because I know it is very slippery. This topic is very slippery. So if you can understand at the first attempt would be very good. So I override this method configure with the authentication manager builder, which has a parameter name. What is the argument name of that? What is the object name of the authentication manager builder?
Auth, sir.
Okay, with that auth, I call a method called as.
Authentication provider.
In that, I will give my own customized method, which will have the
Amir DAO
DAO.
manager. Yes, sir.
So I make a method called as Amir DAO. So I go to here Amir DAO, and now I want to do which type of authentication?
DAO authentication
So I make
provider.
object of DAO
Make object.
authentication.
Yes, sir.
And now for authentication, I require two things. One, the user details. Second, the password, right?
Yes, sir.
So I set for Amir DAO, I have to set how many functions I have to call.
Two functions. User detail service and password encoder.
Set user details service and
Yes.
set password encode.
Encoder.
And now I will make two customized method, one method doing each task. I will make my two customized method, like how I made Amir DAO. How I made Amir DAO function. It was a customized function, right?
Yes, sir.
You should know the difference, which function you are using from the inbuilt class and which function you are making. Is configure you are making on your own? Are you overriding?
Overriding.
Because it is already there.
Already there. Yes,
In
sir.
Amir DAO manager, are you overriding or you writing it?
Writing, sir.
Writing. So now
Yes.
you have to write two more functions. One function which will take care of the user's detail service. Okay. So you can call it as Amir. You can call it as Amir user and Amir password. I'll make these two functions. So for that, you will call which function?
Amir user.
And for encoder, you will call which function?
Password.
Amir password.
Yes, sir.
Which function you will call?
Amir password. Yeah.
Amir password. So you will now call. So now how many methods you have to make more now?
Two methods, sir. Amir user and Amir password.
Perfect. So you will now make a function called Amir user, and you will make a function by the name Amir password. Is this understood till here, what I'm trying to show?
Yes, sir.
Can you run me through this, Amir, in 30 seconds? What we are planning to do?
So here we have to take user and password.
No,
Correct?
from the start I want. I want from the start, from class ABC.
Yes, sir. For class ABC, here we extend the web security configure adapter.
That is part one.
And
First
yes,
step.
sir. Yes, sir. Then we override the two method here
To configure.
configure. Yes, configure method. First one is authentication manager builder,
Okay.
and we said its object is auth. Authentication manager builder object is auth. Correct, na, sir?
Object. Yeah. Class is authentication manager builder. Object is auth.
Yes. Yes. Okay.
And third, we'll also override the configure with the HTTP security.
HTTP security. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now in that, once we get to fourth of that auth, you will call which function?
Authentication provider
And that you will pass a function
pass of
which will take care of your authentication.
yes, sir.
So now you will go and
DAO
function,
manager. Yes.
and as you are using DAO authentication, you will make object of DAO authentication.
Provider. Yes, sir.
Okay, Amir DAO, and
DAO is object. Yes.
set the user detail and the password, and you will return Amir DAO, and Amir DAO is of type DAO authentication. And now
Provider. Yes, sir.
you are making a function called as Amir user,
Yes.
and to
user
set
and
the password, you are making a function called as
password.
Amir password.
Yes, sir.
Is this understood so far?
Yes, sir. Till now.
Till now, all good?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now you can progress. Okay. Now we can move ahead now. Okay. So, and whatever are your methods, just make a bean of all the methods where they can be auto wired. So whatever are user defined methods. So is Amir DAO override or user defined?
User defined, sir.
So you make a bean of all of them. So not all of user defined method with
Bean.
bean are not all user defined methods. So this also bean. This also user defined. And this also user defined. Annotate with the @b. So it has been auto wiring. Okay, now let's do the coding, Amir. So we come here. So we go to the security config class, and this is what we have as of now. Now tell me, now what will you do over here?
Same thing. So first we have to override the configure.
Yeah, so if you want to check what methods are there in a class, just hit control spacebar or shift spacebar. What you give? What you have to, if you want to see what all methods are there in that extended class. Which class are you extending?
Authentication.
Class are you extending?
Authentication manager.
Which
Web security configure
Web
adapter.
security. Yes, yes.
web security configurator. Now, if you want to see what all methods are there in the class which you are extending, give a control spacebar. Give a control
Spacebar.
and you will see all the methods. Now, from this, which methods do you want to override now? Tell me. Do you want to override this method?
Configure, sir.
Yes, sir.
Configure.
The
Authentication manager builder, auth.
And hit enter, control spacebar.
Delete super.config auth.
And one more method you have to override, which is configure with the
HTTP security. Yes.
Okay, so you have to override these two methods, and now you have to give body to them. Okay. Okay, so as of now, let's keep this aside. Let's work on this. Oh, here. Okay, so now you have got the object auth. Now,
yes.
So auth, which function do you have to call now, Amir?
Auth dot authentication provider.
As you type auth dot, it will help you.
Authentication provider.
Authentication provider,
The
this one,
second
right?
one. Yes, the second one, sir.
Now
Now we
you
make
have to find a function which will give you the authentication provider.
user defined, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
let's say we are doing SCS
Okay. SCS.
DAO manager. Yeah,
or
okay,
SCS
whatever.
whatever we are making. What are we making function?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
SCS auth provider. Now is this function there?
No, sir.
No, sir.
SCS auto provider.
Not there. So I take my mouse over there and I say create a method. It will create a method.
Yes.
Create it.
Yes.
Now
Now we make us a DAO authentication provider and name the SCS authentication provider.
the authentication for this one, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Second one.
Then we
And the name of the SCS auth
SCS
provider.
author.
SCS DAO, I name it. Okay. Is
Okay.
new.
Okay. And new
DAO
and same
authentication
name.
provider.
New object created. Yes, sir.
We will return this
And now SCS
DAO.
DAO
Yes.
So what
dot
now
set
if I say
user
return
details.
SCS DAO,
Yes, SCS DAO.
SCS DAO is a what type?
DAO authentication provider.
DAO authentication provider.
Change of this. Return type is DAO authentication provider.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
So now what all two things you have to set to this SCS DAO?
Username,
User
user
and
and password.
Yes,
User
a
and
user
password.
password. Then we set a SCS DAO dot
Service
set set user details service
and SCS DAO dot.
dot
Set
set password encoder.
Okay. Now for this also we will
Yes, sir.
function now.
Then we use here
SCS
SCS
function,
user.
and here we will use SCS password function.
Yes, SCS password.
Now are these two functions there?
No, sir. You have to
No,
create
sir.
it.
SCS user,
Create a map.
SCS password, right? And all the
Right, sir.
function which you have, either you override or you put a bean or you put a, so put this also as a add bean and put this also add bean, correct? And put this also at B. Control Shift O and import the B. Done. Okay. Now this is a configuration class. Okay, so config, right? So annotate it with @configuration and also annotate with @enable web security. Enable web security. Annotate with these two annotations. Okay. And now once you have made the beans, now let's come over here. Now for SCS user. For SCS user. Now we will make a class, okay, which will give us the user,
User.
and also decorate it. Remember yesterday we did decorator pattern?
Yes,
Give the
sir.
user and decorate it also, right?
Yes, sir.
So we have to make that class. So now we will make a return the object of that class over here. So return the object of that class, which will give us the user and decorate that user for us. Which is that okay, which is that class? That class is user details service. Which is that class? So that is the interface. So I'll make a implementation of that. So what am I returning? So I'm returning
user details service implement.
Okay. So now I will make a class. What will be the name of the class?
User details service IMPL.
Will implement which interface?
User details service.
Okay, and it will give me that, it will fetch that user from me on the database and also decorate that user with all the privileges, correct?
Yes.
And similarly for the password. Now for password, which encryption are we using? Which is
Password
the utility we are using? Decrypt, right?
decrypt.
So for that we will make object of new decrypt and password encoder. Okay. Decrypt password encoder. Okay.
Okay.
We'll make return the object of that. Now is this class there?
No, sir. We have to
Create this class, and this class
create
having
this
what name?
class. Service.
So it will be made in which package? We'll make it in which package?
The detail service implement.
You will make it in which package?
Okay.
Service.
Service.
Common sense, right?
Yes, sir.
The name suggests. So now go to the service. Okay. So see, now I'm just taking all step by step. Just let's follow this. So we'll see where we have reached. So see where we have reached over here. Okay. So we made a class by the name web security config extends. Okay. Now have we made a bean of user detail service, which is returning user detail service IMPL, right?
Yes, sir.
And you also made a bean of decrypt encoder, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and it will return password as decrypt password encoder, right? So return type should also match. We did not do that, I guess. When we were doing the password return. So what is this returning? Decrypt password encoder, right? So the password encoder. This is returning user details service. So now we'll have to make a class by what name?
User detail service.
So go to the service and make a class. And what will this user detail service do now? What will this user detail service do? Implements which service?
User details.
See, try to understand the code. We are returning object of what type? You know,
User
PP.
detail service. Yes, sir.
So this method is returning object of this type. So this class should implement this. So where is my config? This service. So it implements and import this. Now, why is this red line coming up? Any idea?
Because we haven't implemented the function.
Yes, correct. And how many functions are there in the user detail service? Only one function, load
Only-
user by username. Which
Yes,
one?
sir. Load. Yes, sir.
Load user by username. It will take the username from the form which Spring Boot gives us, the login form,
Yes.
right?
Yes, sir. Login form.
From that login form, whatever username I'm passing will come as an
Yes.
argument over here, and it will go and check in the database whether the user exists by that name or not,
Okay.
and
Yes.
return that user. And then what will we do to that user? This function will just return us whether that user exists or not.
Not.
If the
Yes,
user
sir.
exists, what do we do? What do we do if the user exists? The green part. We have to decorate that user, right?
Yes, sir.
That is done by my user details.
My user details.
We did this yesterday.
Yesterday.
You make a class by the name
Yes, sir.
my user details service IMPL, which will implement
User detail service.
has only one function by the name,
Load user by username. Yes,
and
sir.
which will search for the first for the user in the database.
Database.
If that user is found, it will return the object.
Yes.
Who will decorate that object now? The green part is done by
My user details.
implements.
User details.
So now now we are over here. Now what are we implementing currently?
User detail service.
Service. So in that has only one method by the name load user by
Load user by
username.
username. Yes.
So this is my next step. So if you go to the page, So we have created this now. Web security config is done, and all these three beans are also ready.
Yes, sir.
And authorization we have parked. At the moment we have parked the authorization, we'll do it after some time. Now let's go to the next step. Next step is what? Make the user detail service IMPL. Okay. And override which function? Override which function?
User detail.
Override the function load user by username.
Load user by username.
Okay. So now I'm overriding that function. So for that, I have to go to the database and check whether the function, I have to go to the database and check whether that user exists or not. Who interacts with the database? Repository, right?
Repository.
So I'll make a user repository. I'll make a new class by the name
User repository.
Is it a class or is it an interface? We are using JPA repository, right?
Mm.
So we'll make a user repository interface, and which does what? Extends the which repository?
JPA repository.
So for which entity class are we making this?
User.
And what is the primary? What is the ID attribute of what type?
Integer.
ID attribute
Integer type.
is it? What type?
Long type.
Long type. So you go to the repository here, user repository, and you will say user and what type. Okay. Now see, this is what I was going to tell you all. Now if I do now I have to import the user, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now if I do a control shift O, now you tell me which user will you import?
Entity users, a second one.
Security core user detail user.
Spring security for.
Which user will you import?
Oh, okay. Yes, sir. First one.
First one.
Or the Spring frame
Now are we
security
using
core.
in memory? I said this in the starting. Now going forward, use your own user. So where is your user?
Yes, sir. com.scs college.entity.user.
Yes, so import
Second
this
one.
user now. Import this user. Don't you import the built-in user. Okay. So of this user repository, which function are we calling over here? Which function are we calling?
Get user by username.
Function should be there. And this will give you a user. This will give you what? A single user, right? So you go to the repository and you make a function called public user get user by, and what you will pass to it? String username.
Yes.
Okay. So now I want to write a SQL query which will give you the user. So what will be the SQL query? So all I've written over here. So no need to worry. The next step. So for this, we require the user repository. So the user repository I made over here. Okay. So this should be the query. This should be the query. Making sense?
Yeah.
Select from user where username equals to the first argument. You import the query. Okay, so I have now made the user repository. So now I am using this user repository object over here. How do I get it? Simply. So how do I get the user repository object? Auto wire it.
Auto wire, yes.
What is the object name? What is the object name? I want it over here. So what do I say?
Auto wire.
It auto wire. Now I have got the object. Now I have to, it is returning me a user. So this user is of what type? So if I do a control shift O, it is asking me you want user of which type?
First one, sir. com.scs college.entity. Yes.
So now this will give you the user, right?
Yes, sir.
So if the user exists, it will give you the user, else it will throw an exception, correct?
Yes, sir.
So
Yeah,
now
could
once you
not
have got
found.
the user, now what will you do with the user?
Check username
That
and
is the
password.
white part. User
Yes,
is the
sir.
white part. Once you have got the user, I'm asking.
Okay, yes, yes.
The blue
Then
part, you have
authority.
got. Now what to do? Decorate that user with
Decorated.
all
Yes,
the
sir.
privileges, with all the authorities, correct?
Yes, sir.
Check whether the password is valid, it is not expired, account is not locked.
Yes, sir.
So
User
who
details.
will do that for
User
us?
details.
User. So I'm passing that user to the user details. Okay. So now you have to make this class which will decorate the user. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So make a class which will implement. So now I have to make the my user details class. Okay. So where will you make that? Make it in the service package only. But this is not a service class. And you make it in the security package. Okay. Okay. Which class did we put in the service package? Which class did you put in the service package? This class. This is in the service package, right?
No, sir. It's...
This is the service,
Yes,
right?
yes, 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 sir. Service.
Sorted with @
Service.
okay, use the proper annotations. And now once we have got our object, we have to decorate this object. For this, I will make the my user details, okay, which will implement the user details. So let me
User
put
details.
in the security package only there. Okay, so I'll make a new class by the name my user details, and this will implement which class?
User details.
Details. Control Shift O, import it. Okay. Now why is the red line over here?
Same, sir.
Because we have not. So this has 7 methods. This has how many methods?
7 methods.
How much decoration do we have to do? How many
7
of decoration we have to do?
decoration. Authority, password, expired,
How
locked,
many
and
level
locked.
of how many level of security decoration we have to do?
7 level
7 level of decoration we have to do.
decoration we have to do.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 layers of decoration you have to do to that object. Okay. So that is what it is asking me, that you have not overridden. So now once I take the mouse over there and I say add implemented methods, how many methods are there?
So like 1, 2, 3, 4. So first one is collection, then get password.
Yeah. So okay, I'll come to all of them. First
Okay,
thing
sir.
first. So if you observe over here, what is happening over here? I'm calling the constructor of my user details, right?
Yes, sir.
So there should be a constructor by this name. See, I make an object of a class and I pass a argument, right?
Yes. Yes, sir.
So which method is called over here? The constructor.
My user details constructor.
Okay, so I should have, and what is the type of argument it will have? I'm passing what? User, right?
Yes, sir. User.
The what type?
Object type.
So if I go to my user details, first thing first, I have to make a user over here. And then make a constructor. So what will be the constructor?
My user details. Yes.
And it will take argument of which class?
User.
User. And what it will do? It will assign that what has I have passed to my user, correct?
User. Yes.
So this we have to do one. And which user are we using? If I do a Control Shift O, user of.
First and college entity.
Okay.
First one. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, once we have done the constructor, now remain few methods are very simple. All just return it true. Okay. Return all true. So is the account enabled, true or false?
True.
If you want
True,
to
sir.
log in successfully, your account will be enabled or disabled.
Enable, sir.
So,
True.
is your account non-expired? Account is not expired, correct?
Non-expired.
So, return
True.
true. Is your account non-locked?
Non.
Account is not locked. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Return
True.
true. Account is not expired.
Return true.
Return.
True.
And now it is asking the username of the logged in user. So how do I get the username of the logged in user? I want the username. I have
Username.
taken data
Use.
over here. So it means getter setters have come, right?
Yes, sir.
So what will I call then? So what will I call the user which I have, which I just initialized in the constructor? So user dot
User.
get
Username.
name. Have a password.
Same for password.
Return
User dot get password.
get
Yes.
password.
Yes.
And now all the authorities of that user. So if Alice has logged in, what all privileges does Alice have? What all authorities does Alice have? So,
Alice is admin, sir. So all CRUD option. CRUD
so to fetch
authority.
the authorities, we have this code. Okay. So this is done. Okay. So this is just just override this code. Okay. List of authorities and return the authority. This much code we have to copy and paste it over here. That's all we have to do. Okay. So import the list, import the role. Control Shift O. From where? Role from where? Java X management, Apache, or where?
The first one, sir.
Role from our entity,
Yes, sir.
from util,
Yes.
and that's one. And role dot get name. Okay, what was the in role? What is the attribute we have for role name, right?
Yes.
So what will we do then? So where are we? My user details. So role dot get
Get role name. Yes.
role. Understood? So dot
Yes.
that all changes you have to. Yeah. So looks we are ready to go. So and once this is done, we are now if this authentication part is done, okay, and for authentication part has been completed. So this your authentication part is completed. So let's go to the security config. Now do a control shift 4. It will implement. Okay. And this configure is just your authorization part. Okay. So this is pending. So let's try to run the code and check whether the why is this throwing an error? Cannot convert user to user detail service. User detail service. Okay. Is it not user details service IMPL? Okay. This has a problem. So control shift 4. Now it will. So that object was not found. Now there was a error in the IMPL. Now this is sorted. User detail service is now sorted. Now the web security also. Let's try to do a project clean and check. It is telling user detail service IMPL cannot convert to user detail service IMPL is implementing the detail service, right? User detail service from where it is taking. User detail service from core user details. Huh? And here user detail service from the code. Yeah, all is sorted. And we will run the application. This should be. So now let's start to run the application. And that error should. Okay, error is still persisting. Error is still persisting. Error persisting. Okay, so the method SCS provider, SCS not provided. Let's go to SCS auth provider. Why is there error over here with the import bean configuration from a bean method must not okay. Bean method must not be private. Whatever bean methods you are making, they should not be private. Okay, this is what it is telling. Bean methods should not be private. So make it public. Now do a project clean. And now let's do a run. Let's see if there is anything else to be sorted out. There's some problem over here. Okay, it says bean s security config defined in class. Okay. Unresolved problem. Package does not match the expected package. Package name. Okay, there is no package. Okay, we deleted this, right? We deleted this. Everything we deleted, right? From the starting. So package name is not reflected to this thing. Okay, no problem. Yeah, now all looks good. Now everything looks good. Okay. So now if I just take a simple test API, so if I go to my controller and just take college controller and just take a simple API. Okay, let's take this simple greet API. Let's try to fit this simple greet API. So I'm able to see my console, right? What was it? Local host colon 8083 slash Guardia College and what is it? Slash greet, right? Guardia College slash greet. So if I try to hit this endpoint, what should happen? Tell me now. Directly will it show me welcome? Directly will it show me welcome? Because this should show me welcome.
Yes, sir.
No, it will
Because it's root.
route to the login page first. No, why is it showing? It should route to the login page. Or we have enabled the security. So have we given configuration? Yes, I enabled the configuration over here.
Yes.
Yeah. At the rate configuration and enable everything is there. You should pick the configuration from here.
At the end,
Yes. So this all looks good. Now let's try to test it from Swagger. We'll go to college controller. Why it is open? So it should route me to the. Okay, so I guess we'll have to override both the configure methods also. You have to override both the configure authentication, authorization, both has to go hand in hand. So we just cannot do the authorization part. Now we'll also have to do the authorization. Okay. So now for authorization, what you have to do is you have to override the configure with the HTTP security, and that has a parameter as HTTP, right? So for that, we have the code below. Configure for the okay. So with this HTTP, you can do this. Let me copy and paste this in our application. Okay. Is my screen visible to you all?
yes, sir.
It's visible, right? So now
Excellent.
HTTP as an argument request. So now these are the endpoints, okay? So these endpoints we have. So after, let's say, the college application name. See, what I'll do is I will go to my controller. Let's say if I go to my student controller, let's say, okay, let's say the student controller. So what is this doing? Post, right?
Yes, of course, miss. We are adding something.
I will just say /add, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Or we can just say post, okay? We'll just add the method name of it. / what? Post. What was the HTTP method? No, what is the HTTP method?
Post.
So I'll do a post. What is this doing?
What's get?
So
Showing something into
/get.
get.
What is this doing?
Get.
What is okay? Okay. So let's follow this style now. And let's go to department controller. What is this doing? Right?
Yes, post.
What is this doing?
Get.
And what is this doing? Okay. Now let's go to college controller. So what is this greet doing?
Get.
What is this Spring Boot doing?
Get.
Sounds okay.
What is this addition doing?
Get.
What is addition new doing?
Get.
Add teacher doing?
Pause.
Add teacher by request body doing?
Post.
Add teacher by this?
Post.
Add teacher by variable?
Post.
Get all teachers doing?
Get.
Get teacher by teacher name doing? Get teacher with path variable doing? Get teacher by age doing?
Gets.
Get teacher by range doing?
Get.
By custom data doing? Get teacher by all this.
Yeah.
Delete teacher.
Delete.
Then update teacher doing. Update what is your name doing? What is your name doing?
Delete.
So now I made all these changes. So now when I will go to my config. So now /Wadia College /post and /Wadia College /get. Okay. And /Wadia College /403. Okay. Make an endpoint by the name access denied. Okay. Make an endpoint by the name what?
Access denied. 403.
My own endpoint we will make. Okay, so we'll have this access denied endpoint. We have not made this, right? So let's make this endpoint access denied. So let's go to our college controller.
नहीं क्या हुआ पता ही नहीं रात को हुआ था मैंने बताया
Access denied. Public string. Yes. Return 403 for return. That should be this access denied. Now if I go to my config class, so these three /Wadia College post and get and access denied will be can be accessed by any of user and admin both, right?
Yes, sir.
But Wadia College and delete and put. Okay, delete all. Put will be accessed only by
Admin.
admin. Okay. And once you open the login page, you want to route to which one? So let's go to list of teachers I want to show. As I log in, by default, I want to go to this endpoint. I want to get all teachers. So this is my, after login successfully, I want to directly go to this home page. So this is my home page. Successful. The login successful, directly go to this. And this should be for all the users can do this. Okay. And after log out, and if there is any error, I want to go to which endpoint?
Wadia College. Access denied.
This endpoint. If there's any error, I want to go to this endpoint. Rest all is good. So this is your configure method. This will give you the authorization. So for Wadia College post and Wadia College, all the get methods will be accessed by
Admin.
Okay. So after that, I will say after post any method, after get any method, and this is just a single endpoint, right? There's no, as it is after put any method, and after delete any method as only to admin. Okay. So like this, you can configure your HTTP security. So authorization also has been configured. Now let's try to run this. What is happening over here? It is telling that department controller method access denied. Okay, it has multiple methods with the same name. Right? So controller, college controller. Okay. So we can say solve it. Access in college and access denied department. Now let's see how it is executed. Okay, application started. You're able to see my screen.
Yes, sir. It
Now let's try
started
it.
successfully.
Let's try to now test it. Let's try to test it on a screen. So localhost 5083 Wardia College and read. So when I now hit this, it routes me to the login page. You see the login page?
Login page.
Now who are our user password? So you go
Yes,
here
sir.
for your user details.
Alice.
User. Okay.
Yes.
Alice with a capital A and password were all small, right?
Yes, sir.
So I type Alice with a capital A and password were Alice 123 all small.
Yes.
Submit, and it has says no explicit mapping for slash error. It is not able to locate that. It is not able to locate that endpoint. Yes. So what we have over here in the config, that after it is successfully logging, I want to go to slash get and slash get all teachers. Okay, there was no Wardia College. Didn't write Wardia College, right? This is the endpoint, right? After login successful, are you able to see my Eclipse screen? After Eclipse,
Yes, sir.
so what we did not write the slash Wardia College over here. So
Where? Wardia College. Yes, sir.
after login successful, we
Access
just
denied.
wrote this. We just wrote this much. That go to get all teachers. But before that, you have to also write go to Wadia College, get all teachers, correct? If it login is successful. So I make the changes and I rerun the application. Application has run successfully. Are you able to see my browser?
No, sir, only Eclipse screen.
Now,
Yes, sir.
are you all able to see, right? So now if I try to enter Alice and with Alice 123 and do a sign in, still is not routing me. And if any error messages it is showing. Okay. Okay, request method post not supported. Okay. That is a get method, no? Get all teachers. Okay, and the college controller is having. Okay, let's try to. Okay, let's try to route to greet. Let's on the login.
Yes, sir.
Let's route to the greet one. And the login is successful. Route over here. Route to the greet. Let's try to see if this is working. Let's try to use Swagger and check if it's working with Swagger. Okay, so I go to Swagger. You see the console?
No, sir.
Alice 123, and I sign in. It's still showing that. So it is expecting method as post. It is expecting method
Wait.
as post.
So can you please rerun the program again? So
The application. It is expecting post. It is expecting here post. This forward URL, no, where we are forwarding this. It is expecting as a
college controller.
See if I change it to request mapping, this should work. So request mapping works in either ways, no? So if I change this to request mapping, this should work. Because it is validating. Because if the password and ID would have not matched, no, it would have given invalid credentials. So here, if I rerun the application, I give a request mapping. And now if I do /swagger UI, if I would give the wrong credentials, you see this screen? If I would give the wrong ID password, this is wrong. It would give me bad credential. So credentials
Bad credential, yes, sir.
Credentials are matching.
Correct, sir.
See how it has shown. So now it is showing you the welcome.
Yes, sir.
But now I want to. Now we go to the Swagger UI. Okay. Now who has Alice logged in, right? So now let's try, can Alice add a student?
Mm.
Can Alice do a uh, post? Okay. Can Alice do a post?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Post, right? So now we have to pass this object. What is the age which we are passing? Let's say age 17, department number 1, email, okay, whatever, Thompson@SCS.com. Roll number will be auto incremented. Don't need to pass that. And then name Thompson. If I do this and if I do a send, it has created the response and giving the response, correct? You see this, guys?
Yes.
So Thompson has been created to the database. So if you want to go and check in the
Yes,
student,
sir. Roll number 6 automatically
if you see
generated.
here, so Alice is allowed to do a get. Okay. Now let Alice do, she did a create. Now let's do a read. Okay. So let's do a read by Alice. So which department number do you want to see? 1. Execute. And Alice can see all the students of department number 1. Okay. Alice, Ben, and Thompson are in department number 1. Correct. Alice can do a create, read also. Now let's
Yes, sir.
try Alice to do a update. So update is in what? College controller. Let Alice try a put. Okay. Take a decent put. Okay. Update teacher. Okay. So try it out and let's see if Alice can do this put. So to which teacher? So if I have a teacher, teacher number 10. Okay. We are changing detail of teacher number 10. So teacher number 10, I'm setting these details. Salary as 9999, age as 59, teacher ID, no need to set that. And teacher name also we are changing to Thompson to Johnson. Okay, so this was Kumar. Okay, the existing details are for 10, 10, 29, 2500, right? TID 10, salary is 2500, age is
Yes,
20,
sir.
name is Kumar. And what am I setting new as? Salary as 999, age is 59, and Johnson. Okay,
Johnson.
let's try to do a execute and
Put function work.
put also has worked. Okay,
Yes, sir.
the 10 has been changed now. So if I go to the teacher now, if I refresh this, the 10 now will reflect as new details. Okay, so as Alice has logged in, she's able to do a put also. And now let's try to delete with Alice. So she's a super user, no? She can do all. Let's try to do a delete. Okay, let's delete teacher by teacher name. So let's try it out. And which teacher name you want to delete? Let's say I want to delete teacher Ronaldo. Okay, so I put the
8
Ronaldo
number sir करते हैं delete.
string teacher name.
It's a Rajesh.
Teacher name. Ronaldo is a teacher. Okay, I want to delete Ronaldo, the teacher Ronaldo. And now if I do execute, it says teacher deleted successfully. And now if I do a refresh, teacher Ronaldo will not be there. Okay, so now
Yes.
let's log out and now log in with which user?
Ben.
Then okay, so let's now log out. Let's log out from here. Now let's see if this log out works over here. Directly if I can give from here. What was it? Word. Okay, log out. Okay, now log in with Ben with a capital B, right?
Yes, sir.
So use
Ben and Ben 1,
Ben
2,
with a
3.
capital B. Ben with a capital B. And password. So if I give any random password, is this a valid password?
Bad credential.
Bad credential, right?
Yes,
So
sir.
checking on the database. And now if I do Ben 1, 2, 3. Okay, got it.
Welcome.
And now let's try to explore the Swagger UI with Ben now. So let's try to create with Ben college. Let's try to post with Ben now. Add teacher, okay. Try it out. So simple, okay. Now what are these? Teacher name, okay. Okay, give any name. So it's Sharma. Integer, I guess, is the age, 36, and double is the salary. Let's say 9988. Execute. Added. Yes or no? All there. So post was successful.
Yes, sir.
Now let's try to do a get. Let's try to do a get with Rohit Sharma. Okay. Get teacher by teacher number. So if I want to see a particular teacher, let's say I want to see teacher number 5, Alex. So I pass 5 to it, execute, and it is giving me teacher number 5, Alex. Okay. So now he is able to do a get and a post. But now if Rohit tries to update or delete, he should not be allowed. Okay. So if he tries to
Yes.
put now, if he tries to put, okay, so now I want to update the teacher number 5, which is Alex, correct? That is Alex, and now these are the new values of Alex I want to put. His salary as 7777, age as 27, no need to pass the ID, we already passed that, and the name I want to put Alexander. And now if I try to do this, it
Execute. It will not allow.
allows. Okay,
Path. Yes, sir. Method not allowed.
it should have actually thrown us 403 forbidden, but
Showing
okay,
405. Okay.
it is not allowing. Getting it?
Delete also, na, sir?
Yeah, delete also do not work. It is
Yes, sir.
routing to the forbidden page, no? It is routing to the forbidden page. It will not allow to update. Okay, got it, guys?
Yes, sir.
Delete also. If you try to now log in as Ben and you try to delete, it should not delete also. So you try to hit any delete API. Let's say you try to hit any delete API. Okay, delete by teacher number. So I want to delete teacher number 5. And I try to delete. It should not allow me to delete. Response, it is allowing.
Allowing, sir. We got deleted.
I deleted successfully. Not have deleted. Deleted 5. Response. I mentioned over here, right? So if the user is of type that over here, security config, then put on any API of put and any API of, okay, see there's a space over here. You see?
Yes, that's the reason
That
it's
is the problem. So
yes,
be very, very, very alert.
very case sensitive.
Yeah, very. So now let's run this. So any API with the delete also now. You will delete is only with the admin. Delete is only with the
Admin, sir,
admin.
not
So
for user.
you
Yes.
want to give to multiple authorities, you have function called as any authority. And if you want to give only to single, then only has authority. Okay.
Okay.
Now we have got this. Now let's go back. Now you have to log out now, right? So after log out, it will route to login. So login with whom? Ben.
Ben.
Right? Ben 123 logged in successfully. Now check this Swagger UI and go to college controller and try to do a now
Delete.
delete. Okay. Delete. Okay, try to delete the teacher by teacher number. Now what teachers do we have right now? Let's try to delete Michael. Michael is 6. Let's try to delete Michael with teacher number 6 and execute. And what happens? Method not allowed. Got it?
Yes. Yes, sir. Method not allowed.
Okay, all good. So this was your role-based authorization also, as well as your DAO authentication. So now as you can add as many users to your database and all will be given a particular role. So now you keep on adding, populating this table. Now you can add millions of users over here and you can add hundreds of roles over here and then map each user with a particular role, and then based on the role you can grant them the privileges. Okay.
Oh,
So now we have two more topics left. One I want to show you all token, and second I want to show you all AOP, aspect oriented programming. So we'll be requiring 2 more sessions. So tomorrow also we'll have a session. Okay. So these are all your high-end configuration sessions. So don't miss those sessions. So maybe tomorrow we'll have a session, Sunday we'll have a break, and Monday we should finish it. So if tomorrow if we have an extended session, we can finish it tomorrow itself. Okay. Tomorrow same time, 9.
okay.
Bye guys. Take care.